Hey guys, welcome back. We're casting the RISS, and this is a best of 7 between, in the top right, TerrOr, and his opponent in the bottom left, Bonyth. All right, so right now it is 2-0 in Bonyth's favor. Kind of one-sided games. The first game, you know, pretty heavy macro game, but just being shut down by defensive web of all things. And then, of course, the next game was just like a little bit of pressure coming out of Bonyth, and unfortunately, TerrOr just falling apart there. Hopefully, he can put out some better games here. We're on Eclipse for map number 1. It is a 2-player map once again, so there definitely is that potential for Bonyth to get over there and steal a gas or something like that, although it kind of looks like he's not going to be going for that. Again, normally you would send out a probe by about now. But we'll see. We'll see how he wants to go about that. Thank you, everyone, for checking out ArtosisCasts. As you can see, I'm trying to put a lot of improvements into the channel right now, grouping some more videos together, making kind of just longer casts in general. We're also going to be jumping around doing all sorts of different tournaments and everything. So hope that you guys are enjoying. Please do subscribe. It is very much appreciated. Hit that notification button. And if you would like to support, there is a Patreon, patreon.com/Artosis. All right, so Bonyth is not doing any scouting of any sort here, right? This just looks very normal, very normal opener. He's not going to steal gas or anything like that. TerrOr with a normal opener. Honestly, on this map, you get offensive gassed so often. It is such a common thing. Like, I would say 95% of all Protoss vs. Terran games on 2-player maps result in Terran getting his gas stolen. And the thing about gas steal is it dictates what you can do with Terran almost 100%. There's very few things that you can do out of it. It's like, okay, well, if they steal my gas and they go for a Nexus right away, you're just behind. Because you can't actually counterattack that. If they steal the gas and go for their own gas, you must kill your own gas and get up to your factory as quickly as possible, right? So it really dramatically reduces the variety of choices that you have as a Terran player. So TerrOr should be really happy here that he did not get offensive gas. This just looks like a normal game on a normal map. Well, in some ways, there's certainly things about Eclipse. The difficult thing, if there's no offensive gas on Eclipse, is how big and wide open it is outside of the natural bases. So see, here's your expansion, and then you have to basically guard this much to take a third base as Terran. Or over on this side, you have to guard this, about that much to take your third base up here. Okay, so that's the point of difficulty that most likely TerrOr is going to have to deal with here against Bonyth. Now, Bonyth actually goes Citadel of a Dune very, very quickly. A sneaky mind game here. Once the SCV exits his base, it looks like he's going to go for a Dark Templar rush. Now, Bonyth does not Dark Templar rush very much. This is an important thing because these guys know each other very, very well. Like, I mean, they've played many, many times in many, many tournaments, and literally everyone knows that Bonyth is primarily a Reaver user and a Carrier user, and he doesn't go Dark Templar as much. But when you don't do something as much, when you mix it in, it becomes a bit more powerful because it's more likely that your opponent is going to take some risks against it. So, for instance here, if TerrOr does not get an engineering bay in the next about 25 seconds, or he doesn't go mines immediately, then there is a very good chance that Dark Templars walk across this map and it is the end of it. Now, there's only a single gateway, so it looks like we're going to have a single Dark Templar plus the expansion coming up. And he still even has range on the way, man. It's crazy what you can afford. But he is... This makes me really nervous for TerrOr. Like, this is a hard one to figure out, right? Like, the SCV is trying to come back, and the Dragoon is going to prevent it, right? So you've seen 2 Dragoons. You didn't see the Nexus. It's almost better, in my opinion, to let him see the Nexus, but then you see the health, and you're like, is that late? And then you have 1 Dragoon over here, right? So there's just not a lot of scouting that can go on. Now, looking at TerrOr's build, the first Dark Templar is about halfway done. We don't have mines in the way. He needs to start an eBay very, very quickly. If he doesn't start his engineering bay, like now, okay, there it is. Is this going to be in time? I don't think it actually is. This is a bad this is a bad thing that we're watching here. This game may end when the DT gets up here. Like, okay, so generally against one DT you can always get like a turret up and like eventually push it out of your base, but the amount of damage a single DT can do before you kind of re-secure your position is immense. Now the command center going to land, the engineering bay not done yet. Oh man, this is going to be a really sad way to go to 0-3 for TerrOr. And it looks like that's exactly what's going to occur. No missile turret started. Let's see, does he start one? He starts one, but look at this. The DT just going to walk in. And, well, you're in a hell of a lot of trouble now. See, the units are trying to block the DT from getting anywhere. The one, I love the Dragoon coming up as well. It's actually really surprising he does not even go after the turret at all. But there's no units here, so I guess that is a good play to just let him get the turret, because you just kill all of his units before the turret gets up, and then you kill the turret because there's no units to fight back. GG. Bonyth goes up 3-0. All right, so going directly into map 2, this is Overwatch, a 2-player map. Just some standard openers. Bonyth, once again, third 2-player map in a row. Does not steal the gas. Just sits in his base. Doesn't scout or anything. Making a Zealot as that first scout. And TerrOr going to get down here and see exactly what he's up against. It's basically the same that he's seen so far, but he's lost in very different ways in the last 2 games. The first game, a Zealot snuck around, killed 2 Marines, and that basically ended it. As funny as that is. Like, it went on for a couple more minutes, but he had nothing after that. He took too much damage from the initial Zealot. The second game, it was simply a DT that got there before he had a turret done. Bam, done. And yeah, here we are now. And of course, I'm forgetting to update this new scoreboard. There you go. 3-0 for Bonyth thus far. It is a best of 7, so this could end up being the last game. We shall see about that. If TerrOr is able to take one, but so far it's been like pretty one-sided. Unfortunate to see. Now, this is not exactly a gasless expansion. This is like in between. It's where you're getting a gas but no factory. Definitely something that you can do. I actually like these types of builds from TerrOr, because he is getting his command center up a bit faster than what Bonyth is getting. Of course, that means that his factory is going to be quite a bit slower, right? He's starting his factory approximately a minute after he would have with a regular gas expansion, but of course the command center being a bit faster can help him to catapult his economy forward a little bit. Down at Bonyth's base, nothing fancy going on. It's just Dragoon range, pretty fast Nexus, and that's it. Guarding the ramp here with the Zealot, and a Dragoon just waiting for an SCV to possibly come up so he can micro against it and block it from scouting him. We'll see what his tech is. It is going to be robotics this time. More up Bonyth's style. It's more of his style. But that DT that was the killer of TerrOr in that previous game, that could screw with his mindset, right? Like, you might be a little bit scared, like, oh god, yeah, I got to make sure I have my detection on time. We'll see when he starts his engineering bay. He doesn't have a lot of intel, and he gets it actually. This will stop, this timing of the engineering bay, right around 4 minutes and 20 seconds, will stop a 1-base Dark Templar rush. So you can see that he is like hedging towards that, right? Like, he's playing much more safely because of that previous game. Bonyth, of course, utilizing that to his advantage, not going for that at all. Instead goes for 3 gateway. So it looks like it's probably going to be 3 gateway observer once again. Man. Really likes those Dragoons. Very, very Dragoon heavy in his macro games. And the 2 Dragoons will stop that SCV. It sees the mining nexus. So, I mean, a good amount of information on both sides. Should get a turret down here. If you're going to build the eBay that early, you should build 1. And there it is. Very normal location for it and everything. So that'll stop any incoming Dark Templars. If an observer is silly enough to fly in there, it'll die as well. And yeah, it looks like with this defensive opener from Bonyth, I wonder if it's going to look like game 1 again, right? Like, you're going 3-gate observer. You're making sure that you're completely safe. Of course, like, he could do an attack, but I don't see any real reason for him to. But will he go into that fast 3rd base? Yeah, it looks like he's getting ready for it, but you do have to cut Dragoon production for a moment to actually get that Nexus going. this probe waiting at that third base spot. Now, speed and mines are on the way. Okay, let's see. And he is going for 3 siege tanks. So this is going to be a pressure build out of TerrOr. 3 tanks, 3 Marines, and an SCV. These will lead the charge, and he will rally in vultures behind. Eventually, speed will be done, and they'll get there very quickly, and then mines will be done, and he's going to be able to lay those mines offensively to try to help bust up the goons. Now, the observer sees this coming. Bonyth knows exactly what's going on, but unluckily here for TerrOr, Bonyth has gone 3 gate observers, so he absolutely has enough to knock this down. Look at this, 5 Dragoons and a Zealot. He's going to lose the first Dragoon super quickly, and he does end up losing the second one pretty quickly as well. So, like, there's some good picking off going on, and vultures are coming in, but with 2 tanks already down, like, if he still had 2 tanks, I would like this position for TerrOr, but as is, I don't know how much he's going to get done because there's going to be more Dragoons popping. Look, 3 more Dragoons coming out to fight. He's got the observer, and look, he knocks that down, goes up to the high ground, so a lot of shots going to be missed, and it's only 1 tank. You got to be careful here. Sends that SCV up the ramp for that consistent vision, but if he misses too many shots, the Dragoon absolutely will take him down. Oh my god, and he misses the shot. The Dragoon wins, and that's bad, man. Now we just have some damaged vultures running around. 3 Dragoons kind of blocking in here, but like he can let these hit his Nexus until his next round of Dragoons are out, because vultures can't kill a building. It takes so long. They'll take off the shields pretty quick, but it takes just about forever to end up clearing the actual health of the Nexus. So as you can see, he waits for 3 more. He actually screws that up a little bit. Ooh, the run by on the vultures into the main base. This is the moment where TerrOr may be able to equalize this game or get an advantage. So he's going to be able to get quite a few of these probes. Look at that, target down the probes, 2 probes, 3 probes going down so far. 4 probes going to be picked off, and continues to go after them. Misses one of his shots there, but goes back towards the natural as well. Ooh, a nice probe block goes up. In the meantime, this one vulture, you can see it took off the shields, but not much damage elsewhere. The Dragoons will be able to clear that out, and this offensive does end. Okay, so let's take stock of where we're at. Let's figure out who's ahead here. Over in TerrOr's base, he's got 2 siege tanks, he's got some turrets, he's got +1 almost halfway done. Siege mode coming, 3rd factory, 3rd command center. He needs to start a starport right away. Not a bad position. Look, he even has his academy up somehow here, so that's looking pretty good. 45 SCVs against 46 probes. Over at Bonyth's base, we have 3 gateways going, an additional gateway being made, a decent amount of Dragoons sitting very defensively, and the 3rd Nexus has been saved. So the nice thing about Bonyth's position is that he can explode his economy now. He's completely safe. He can't be attacked again. You know, this is an upgrade Terran follow-up from TerrOr. And he's producing a lot of probes, so that's good. He is getting ahead as far as that worker count goes. And look, he's getting ready for carriers once again. But honestly, I don't think after all that TerrOr's position is all that bad. He can't attack for a very long time, so Bonyth can actually be very greedy right now. And that's a very late starport. If he had started that starport right when I had first said about he needs to start a starport soon, I would actually say that this is a good position. But as is, I'd say it's like pretty even. Pretty even position. The 2-1 is not going to be super, super fast, but it's still reasonable. He's got the 3rd base up. It doesn't seem like he can be attacked since this is a purely Dragoon-based army. But again, it's not like he can attack anytime soon. So we'll see how quickly he can macro up at this point. But good SCV count. 2nd armory coming. There's that 3rd gas. Definitely can produce quite a bit. You know, he has the academy, but we haven't seen comm stats yet, which can be okay. Like, sometimes you get the academy and you say, you know what? Actually, I don't need that scouting. Let's build SCVs instead. Let's spend that gas elsewhere. You know, each time you build a comm stat, that does cut 2 SCVs out. It's the same build time basically as 2 SCVs. So I like how TerrOr's playing this. This is definitely the best position for TerrOr out of the 4 games so far. All right, so this looks to be 3 Stargate, some Corsairs being produced, so very similar to what we saw previously on map number 1, that oil map, whatever it was called, from Bonyth. He utilized those D-webs in a very nice way, was able to take those battles pretty one-sidedly. One thing I do have to mention about TerrOr here is he's messed up his factory timing a little bit. He's about a minute late on adding these factories, so his supply is going to fall behind a little bit compared to where it really should be. So definitely a mistake, and I think he probably realizes that. He's got a pretty good defensive arc and everything, but again, Bonyth can't attack, and he doesn't want to attack either. Like, when you start going into carriers, this is the only true transition that Protoss has in this matchup, where there's actually a period of weakness, right? Like, you're producing less gateway units, and you're putting a lot of resources, time, and supply into producing these carriers. So there's this big open period where it's like, okay, maybe an attack could come. But again, with the later factories, the supply count is not enough. You can see TerrOr's supply right now sitting at 110 against 160. Simply not a situation where he can attack. So the double armories are going, not quite halfway done on the 2-1 upgrades. Very healthy factory count will be reached here. But he's going to need to get his 2-1. He's probably going to need to max out to attack as well. One thing that's going to be interesting to me is, does he handle the D-webs better? Like, is he going to siege later, maybe spread more, that type of thing? We're going to see. Because those D-webs definitely have done a fantastic job in that first game. And honestly, like I mentioned in that first game, I have played against Bonyth utilizing this strategy. And if you haven't played against it a lot, it's pretty wild how well it does. You look at it as a Terran player, and you say, I've played against D-web a couple times. It doesn't do that well. And then he just slaughters your army with it. So will TerrOr have a better plan? I'm sure he's been thinking about it throughout. We are definitely going to see, because we're going to hit that point. All right, a science vessel comes out. Does just pick off that observer. Very nice pick off. The 9 factory is going to really help him as far as production goes. We don't see a 4th command center yet, but definitely something that TerrOr is going to have to think about. Where will he want to take it? Probably the top right corner, but if you're taking it here, you have to be doubly careful. You have to be careful of counterattacks here, or in this case, carriers attacking here. And then you just kind of have to hold this area, right? Like, you might be able to rally here and have a siege line set up. But I think that would be optimal, especially with Bonyth actually expanding right here. This is kind of interesting to me. I almost feel like Bonyth should expand to the bottom left corner, because it's a one-ramped expansion that's far away from everything. Generally, that is where carriers will shine. But yeah, I guess he's deciding he wants to expand here. Maybe he's going to keep a more forward presence and try attacking in this area. But this is kind of the more open area that Goliath will fare a little bit better on. So a lot of Dragoons coming out here for Bonyth. Speed Zealots joining the fray. Oh my gosh, we're actually getting Corsair energy. Argus Jewel. I don't even remember the name of that, because you see it so rarely. Now, is this 2 Corsairs? Okay, it's going to be 2 Corsairs only. Previously, we saw 3. The carrier is going to start harassing a little bit. A little bit late on the max here. This is primarily because he did add those factories slightly late, but about 20 supply down from his max. He's got the 3 base, full saturation, no 4th command center as of yet. Some more missile turrets being built to try to slow down any counterattacks from carriers. And here we go. We have a big battle coming up here, guys. 2-1 upgrades are done. 3-2 have started. Can TerrOr actually take this fight? We are going to see. Oh, that's a huge D-web that goes down. These 3 siege tanks. 4 siege tanks unable to attack. And another 4 and a Goliath stuck over here. Oh, actually, that one is attacking. But you can see that the siege tanks missing their damage is very painful. But now that energy is gone. He fared in this battle better than the first game, right? The first game, the battle just kind of went against him. But here, TerrOr's got his 2-1. He's still got decent supply, 151. He definitely needs a couple rounds before he goes out. 9 factories will produce 18 supply at a time. So if he just waits a minute, he can basically max out again. He is going to push forward a little bit, which, yeah, this probably works for him. You know, some of the supply for Bonyth is in gateways himself, rallying down to reinforce. And it looks like TerrOr is just going to go ahead and siege up this base. This is great. If he can kill this base, then he's really making headway in this game. Bonyth is bringing all of his units up to this high ground. So it looks like he wants to fight here a little bit. The Zealot's going to charge forward. and take a lot of the hits. Dragoon's coming up to attack as well. He's picking off siege tanks right now, and another DUEB goes down. This stops a lot of units from attacking here. 4 units that you can see, 3 of which are siege tanks. The other siege tanks no longer attacking. Oh my god, almost nothing here for TerrOr is attacking at this point. Only anti-air and 1 tank. Very painful indeed, and as those run off, the Dragoons continue to rally up, but it looks like he does want to pull back for now. Continuing to siege up this base, some cannons being made despite the fact that it's under attack. Bonyth deciding that he can, in fact, hold on. Goliaths forcing their way up the ramp. The siege tanks having a hard time actually being in range of these Dragoons. He does get a volley there. The actual interceptor count getting a little bit low. Maybe TerrOr can break this base. I don't know. He's continuing to rally out quite a few units. The supply for both players getting lower and lower. They're going to take a moment now with the fighting ceasing. We're going to see both of their supplies kind of jump up as they spend that money down, try to get out as many units as possible for the reinforcements. And TerrOr does take this top right base. Really like that choice. He's deleted this base. And suddenly, I can absolutely see TerrOr taking this game. Like, he's not maxed right now, so he does need a couple more rounds. And the carrier count, oh god, that's 9 carriers, guys. That's very hard to deal with. Like I was saying, as soon as they hit 6, you're like, oh man. But 9? And is he making any more? No, he's not making any more right now. Instead, he's going into high Templars, which is a great switch. Honestly, 9 is enough for right now. You can add other carriers later. But just getting into Psystorm, like I said, like right now, I can see TerrOr winning this game. But once you start adding in Psystorm, the game slogs on because you can't just attack into Protoss anymore. When there's no splash damage, you can max out and just kind of fight toe-to-toe. But as soon as you have that splash, the attack-moving Terran army cannot attack-move anymore because you eat so many Psystorms. But instead, it's actually Archons being made. Archons absolutely not scary. Absolutely not. Like, every Terran unit does full damage to those shields, which allows the... I mean, the shields just get ripped off very quickly. They're still tanky. They're tankier than, like, let's say a Dragoon, but, like, you're not afraid of that as Terran. Their range is very small. They have to walk all the way up. So an interesting play. Maybe Bonyth a little bit nervous right now, not spending the time to get the Psystorm. Now, here we go. Sieging up. Another attack in here. Those Archons actually, I mean, they're tanking an okay amount right now. And the Zala Archon getting forward a bit. But TerrOr has a lot of units. Does he have enough to clear this? Ooh, another DUEB goes down. The Archons pushing forward. Okay, Mass Archons working against Terran. This is something new. They actually go under the DUEB for a moment. He does micro them out. But you see occasionally they are getting stuck there as well. And with that high ground advantage, it looks to me like Bonyth is going to clear absolutely everything. You can see that supply differential, 186 against 111. Bonyth just macroing up and shutting down TerrOr's army. You cannot come across this bridge like he's trying to do right now. That is not going to work out for you very well. And Bonyth going to clear everything now with the carriers. Like, if you don't have very close to max supply against this many carriers, there's simply nothing you can do. You just need a lot of brute force to deal with them. It looks like Bonyth is going to be able to take down this best of 7 series against TerrOr with a dominating 4-0 victory. TerrOr trying to rally down, trying to remake his units as best he can to hold on here. Sieges up some tanks to kill off the Dragoons, but the carriers are too much. GG, Bonyth wins 4-0.